Parent Traps and Heart Attacks, and it's a Shameless reunion on the Connors. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my Connors review for episode 4 of season number 5. This is called Parent Traps and Heart Attacks. And every week we do the Connors reviews here on the channel. If you're new around here, you can check out all of my old Connors review videos and the original Roseanne seasons as well. Think about subscribing too. Would love to have you aboard as one of my subscribers. And just like and comment too. That all helps the channel out. And I do love interacting with you folks as well. In fact, we've had a nice little sort of back and forth with a few of you guys in the comments over the last couple of weeks about a certain issue that we can maybe get into here, but the aging up process of some of the kids in the show. So we can get into that. But yes, I've been talking to some of you in the comments about that. And just got word as well that not only, I said last week, oh, we're going to get 5 new episodes of the Connors in a row. This is crazy. We've never had this many new episodes. Well, there is going to be actually 6 new episodes. Next week is a new episode. The week after that, on the 26th, is a new episode. So they are really just plugging along this season. I love this. Usually it's like 2 episodes, maybe 3 if we're lucky, and then a rerun or 2, or ABC will take it off for some special. But this is really cool. So we'll have more and more of these review videos in the next couple of weeks. So this is called, like I said, Parent Traps and Heart Attacks. And I mentioned up front that there's a Shameless reunion here. So if you're unaware, Emma Kenny, who plays Harris on the Connors, is a Shameless alum. In fact, for a while she was doing both shows, but Shameless, of course, has wrapped up at this point. But for 11, I think they were both on for 11 seasons. I will be honest, I gave up watching Shameless about season 4 maybe, or 5. It just was like, we get it, this family, the dad sucks, and whatever. It just kept sort of repeating itself. But anyway, so new to this episode, and I don't know if we'll see him much again. They sort of resolve what happens, but Ethan Cutkosky, I believe is how you say his name. I've never actually heard it pronounced, but he played on the Shameless as well for, I think, again, all 11 seasons. He played Carl Gallagher, and to be honest, because I stopped watching so long ago, I didn't recognize him. Before I went to do this review video, I looked up, hey, who plays the new kid in the Connors, and I saw his name come up. I said, wait a second, I feel like I know that name. So I looked it up, and I haven't seen him since he was quite little. I mean, if I stopped watching that long ago, he probably was, I don't know, 11 or 12 or something. He's playing 17 in this particular episode, but I think the actor is older than that, as you would sort of guess. But yeah, so anyway, I guess let's start there, since he's sort of the new character. I guess before we even launch into that, we did see Mary for the first time this season. Well, I think maybe she was slightly in like one scene in the premiere episode, but she was not in the last couple episodes at all. So Mary has a return, and we sort of got, they didn't really talk about DJ, but they mentioned that her grandmother had dropped her off, and obviously her grandmother on DJ's side of the family has passed away, Roseanne. So this is Gina's mother, we're assuming. So all right, maybe we're splitting our time between Gina's family and the Connor household. So maybe we'll get some sort of insight at some point about DJ, but it was nice to see her back, and she actually got a little bit of plot development as well. And for the first time this season, we also see Katie Seagal as Louise. She's been a little bit absent, but she's always got so many projects going on, so that makes sense. The only one that was missing really from the main cast this week was Mark. And of course, we love seeing him, but we had a pretty Mark-heavy episode last week, so he got the week off this time around. So, all right. So, yeah, I guess since we're already talking about, this sort of Shameless reunion. So basically, at the beginning of the episode, we discover that Neville and Louise not only have another brother, but he dies. He I guess had a heart attack maybe. I guess that would, I sort of forget what they said, but the episode's called Parent Trap and Heart Attack, so I assume that's what killed him. But in any event, he had a son that now they have to figure out what to do with, and he's been sort of not treated well by his father, and that's kind of why Louise and Neville kind of shied away from having him in their lives at this point, not to the detriment, not because of the kid, I should say, but they just, he was so toxic to the rest of the family, they just sort of shut the door on him. We learn as the episode goes on that this guy spent time in jail and was just a horrible person and whatever. And so the options are basically put this kid in foster care until he turns 18, or he can go live with Louise and Dan, or he can live with Neville and Jackie. And so they all sort of collectively decide the latter, that Neville and Jackie will take him in. Right away, he starts stealing some things. Jackie is kind of covering for him because she doesn't want Neville to know that this is going on. She wants to kind of put on a happy face and yes, rah, rah, let's help this kid out, whatever. And so once Neville leaves the scene, he and Jackie have a nice little heart-to-heart. And she says, look, I came from a really abusive family as well. I understand most people will not, but I do. So, let's do this together. Let's, make a go of this. So by the end of the episode, turns out she did make an impact on him. Her words did help him figure out what he wants to do with his life. And what that is go into the Marines. And so this is why I think we're not really going to see him again. Like when they first introduced him and all of that, I thought, oh man, we just, we got rid of DJ because there were too many characters that weren't getting airtime. Are we going to really bring a new person into the fold? But I think, we may get another episode or two or something along the way. But by the end of the episode, Neville signs the paperwork that he needs to enter into the Marines. So I think we probably won't see him anymore. This is maybe like a little bit of a one-off character, but in any event, he is now a part of the family. So maybe at some point we'll see him again. He has a really great scene with Harris, because he's sort of, when he first enters the scene, he's just a jerk to everybody. He starts calling everybody, different names based on what they are. And all of this. And it doesn't leave a great taste with people, but they say, look, you know what, Harris, go out and see if you can talk to him and see what he needs and whatever. So the scene is even more impactful now that I realize, they played, siblings on Shameless, and it sort of makes the part where he's like kind of coming on to her even more twisted, because like they're already related, I guess, through marriage, though. They're not really blood relatives, I guess, in this. But, of course, in Shameless they were. So, but that is the kind of twisted humor that the Shameless fan would love, right? That's sort of the main thing about that is the really, it goes way over the line in every way, shape, and form on that program. So, makes it even funnier. But yeah, so obviously she shot him down with that. But anyway, I guess here's a good time to talk about the aging up, because Harris was drinking a beer again, which she's done, I think, in every episode so far this season. So there's been some question of, is Harris 21? She's been drinking. She's been actively drinking in front of the family, and going to bars. And okay, so what's the story here? And then one of you lovelies pointed out to me in the comments last week that Mark is aged up as well. So look, I watch 60 to 80 different TV shows a year, and even more than that when you consider the ones I review for my weekly show, where I just watch 1 or 2 episodes of. But I follow along with about 80 shows a year. So I get very lost in the timeline of things, and who's doing what. But I knew that when Harris moved out with her friend, she was 17. Have 4 years passed since then? And I think you guys in the comments said, no, it really didn't. But then one of you had pointed out the whole thing with Mark last week, because he was looking at colleges and he's driving now. He's 16. But at the start of Roseanne season 10, he was not he would not be 16 now, and I believe the actor that portrays him is only 15. So I mean, look, he is towering over this family. He's so tall. So maybe they just thought to kind of age him up because of that, because he's already towering over everybody. Let's make him a little older than he really is. Okay, I could see that. I mean, that was sort of my thought process on it. I don't know. There's been nothing official about that, but that's kind of what I thought. But they are sort of aging everybody up. I think Beverly Rose sort of lost a year, who was not in this episode either, but she is, she's about 4 or 5 now, and I think that's sort of skipping a year of her life as well. So we are to expect at this point that the Harris character is 21, even though they're playing fast and loose a little bit with the ages. But what I had said in the comments to you guys last week, the ones that had mentioned that, they're playing with their ages from the jump anyway, because if you take it from when Harris would have been born on the original Roseanne show, which would have been somewhere in like 96, 97 range, she would be like 25 at this point. So they've been playing with the ages, I think, especially for Harris, sort of ever since we got on this train. So that's sort of to put a fine point on that. We don't have to talk about that every week, but a few of you were mentioning in the comments, sort of echoing my thoughts about where are we here with these ages. So anyway, that's that. Let's get back to tonight's episode, though. Mary, like I said, has kind of a plot point here. They think she is very depressed when we first see her. She's going to her room and just locking herself in there and not really talking to anybody, and she's being a bit down and antisocial, it seems. So they're like, oh my gosh, Darlene, this is you, when you were 14, whatever. But it turns out she has a boyfriend, and she's just been sort of sneaking around because she doesn't want the family to embarrass her. So they say, hey, we need to meet this guy. If you're going to be seeing him, bring him over. And, it led itself to a pretty funny scene where we see that Mary has sort of picked up the ball-busting female gene of this family, carried on from really everybody from Beverly and even Nana Mary from the original Roseanne. Shelley Winters played her, all the way down through the generations. So it's kind of fun to see that aspect of her. And I like that they're giving her character, a little bit of something to do, not just showing up in one random scene, making some comment, and then, exiting the rest of the show. So I like that as well. Overall, I thought this was a pretty good episode. I certainly got a lot of laughs. And for tonight, there was no doubt in my mind who the MVP would be. We've gone sort of back and forth these last couple of weeks. The one week, it was like I wasn't quite sure because nobody really stuck out, above and beyond. And then I guess it was last week, there were a lot of people that I could have picked. But this episode, there's no doubt in my mind, it is Jackie, Laurie Metcalf for sure. Right from the start, right from the opening scene, they're all playing poker, the Connor family staple. And Neville gets the phone call about the brother dying. And Jackie, goes to give him a hug, but she shows Dan that she's got a killer hand, in poker, and her face, it just said it all, about like, oh, this, curses that this guy dies when I have a great poker hand kind of thing. And I got a huge laugh out of that. And then having her be such an influential part of this new boy's life, I thought that was really great too. So she had some funny scenes, she had some heartfelt scenes, and again, this episode did evoke the name of Roseanne when Mary was being questioned by Becky and Darlene, and she said, oh, when you guys brought people over, Grandma Rose, certainly gave you the business, I'm sure. So keeping that thread alive, which again I say it just about every week. I like that they do that. I think it's natural. I think it's a nice little tip of the hat there. So yeah, this is about on par with last week's episode. I think if they were going to bring this kid in and have him be a semi-regular for the season, I would feel a little bit differently. But I like that they shuffled him in, gave us a lot of chewy scenes here that we could really enjoy. And then I think they're going to ship him off to the Marines now, and we maybe will see him, at some point in the future, but not for the present. And I'm okay with that. I think the cast is getting a little big as it is, so I like that. All right, that's it. Yeah, I think this is definitely one of the better ones of the season so far. And again, I'm so excited we're getting two more episodes back to back in the coming weeks. But I leave Parent Traps and Heart Attacks with a B plus. I could even go with an A minus possibly, but I think we'll reserve some of the higher tier grades for really really great episodes. I don't think we've gotten quite any of those yet this season, but between this week and last week, I think we're definitely on a good trajectory. So we will see what happens as the weeks continue. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Dan Reviews It. Bye.